Two animals, same goal. One of them grosses over 1,000 pounds a month from a space the size of a dining table. The other puts your first paycheck in your hand in 31 days flat. And almost everyone who tries this picks the wrong one first. Quail versus rabbits. This is the comparison nobody runs honestly, because the people raising quail have never tried rabbits, and the people raising rabbits have never tried quail. So they each swear their animal is the best, and not one of them has done the maths side by side. I have. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which one pays more on zero land, which one to start first if you need cash this month, and the one move that lets you run both for less than either one costs on its own. Here is what makes this matchup different from every other backyard income idea on the internet. Both of these animals slip through a legal gap that shuts most people down before they ever start. Coturnix quail are classified under federal law as a game bird, not poultry, not livestock. The zoning codes that ban chickens in your town were written about chickens, word for word, and they do not mention game birds. That gap is not an argument you have to win with your city council. It is a federal classification your city council does not have the authority to override. Rabbits walk through a completely different door. Under federal law, a rabbit is a companion animal, the same legal category as your neighbor's dog. That means home processing is legal in most states, with no USDA inspection, because a rabbit is not an agricultural commodity the way a chicken or a pig is. The barrier that kills most backyard meat operations before the first dollar arrives simply is not there. So both animals are invisible to the rules that stop everyone else. Now let us put them in the ring, round by round, and settle this with real numbers from real operators in real states. Round 1. Time to first money. This is where most beginners actually make their decision, and the rabbits win it outright. A 12-doe rabbitry in eastern Tennessee runs 1 buck and 12 does out of a converted shed, and the first income lands 31 days from the day the operation starts. 31 days. That is the shortest runway of any animal in this entire niche, full stop. Quail are fast too, but not that fast. A Coturnix hen does not start laying until she is 6 weeks old, so your first real income arrives at around 42 days. 11 days slower. It does not sound like much on paper, but when you are starting with an empty bank account and you need proof this thing works before you lose your nerve, the rabbit gets you to that proof first. Round 1 goes to rabbits. Round 2, monthly gross. And now the quail hit back hard. That Tennessee rabbitry grosses 600 to 800 pounds a month, and it does it across 3 separate channels, not one. Processed meat sells at around 10 pounds a pound. Pedigree breeding stock goes for 60 to 150 pounds an animal, sold to homesteaders who want to start their own line without raising from newborns. And the third one surprises people every time. Rabbit manure sells at 10 to 25 pounds a bag to organic gardeners, because rabbit manure is one of the only fertilizers on Earth you can put straight onto a garden bed without composting it first. Most manure has to cure for weeks or it burns the plant. Rabbit manure does not, and the gardeners who know that will hunt you down. Solid, diversified money. But the quail climb higher. A homesteader in Wisconsin runs 150 birds and pulls 750 to 1,100 pounds a month. And that income runs across 3 product lines from the exact same cage. Eating eggs at 6 pounds a dozen, and that is just the floor. Hatching eggs from the identical birds at 12 to 24 pounds a dozen. And live chicks at 3 to 5 pounds each. Same feed, same cage, same hours of work. The Wisconsin operator switched to selling hatching eggs first, instead of eating eggs, and doubled his monthly gross without adding a single bird to the cage. Round 2 goes to quail. Round 3, space. And this is the whole reason you clicked on a video with the words "zero land" in the title. The rabbits live in that converted shed. It works, and it is not a huge footprint, But a shed is not nothing. You need the structure, the room, the ground to put it on. The quail? 150 birds run on a rotational cage system in 12 square feet of total floor space. 12 square feet. That is smaller than the footprint of a standard dining table. And because you can stack quail cages vertically up a garage wall, the floor space barely changes as you scale. If your definition of zero land is genuinely zero, no shed, no run, no yard, no ground at all, the quail take this one without a contest. Round 3, quail. Round 4, the feed bill, and this one is close enough to call honestly. The rabbits eat about 40 pounds of feed a month. The quail eat about 45. A 5-pound difference, which is nothing. But the number that actually matters is not the feed cost on its own, it is the margin between feed and gross. The rabbit turns 40 pounds of feed into 600 to 800 pounds of income. The quail turned 45 pounds of feed into 750 to 1100. Both of those ratios are frankly absurd, the kind of feed to revenue conversion you will never see in a cow or a pig. The feed cost is almost identical, and both margins are extraordinary, so I am calling round 4 a genuine draw. Round 5, startup cost. The rabbits run 300 to 500 pounds to set up, that is cages, feeders, and your breeding stock. The quail come in cheaper, 150 to 300 pounds for a cage system and your first bird. If you are starting with almost nothing in your pocket, the quail are the lower wall to climb over. Round 5, quail. Let us add it up. Rabbits take time to first income and tie on the feed bill. Quail take monthly gross, space efficiency, and startup cost and tie on the feed bill. On the straight question this video asks, which one pays more on zero land? The quail are the answer. They gross more, they live in a fraction of the footprint, they cost less to start, and they can sit on a shelf in your spare room where a rabbit physically cannot. But, and this is the part that matters, that does not make the rabbit the loser. It makes the rabbit the better first move for a specific kind of person. If your real problem is cash flow, if you need to see actual money fast to justify carrying on at all, the rabbit's 31-day runway is worth more to you than the quail's higher ceiling. You cannot bank a ceiling you gave up on in week 3. So you start with the animal that pays you before you quit. And for a lot of people, that is the rabbit. Now here is the part nobody tells you, and it is the reason you should stop thinking about this as a competition in the first place. These two animals make each other cheaper to run. Quail produce manure. Rabbits produce manure. Feed that manure into a simple black soldier fly bin, and the larvae that come crawling out goes straight back into the quail cages as a high-protein feed supplement, cutting that 45-pound feed bill by 25 to 40%. The frass left behind in the bin becomes finished fertilizer for the garden, or another bag to sell right next to your rabbit manure. The two operations that looked like rivals turn into a single machine, where the waste from each one quietly lowers the running cost of the other. The competition was never real. It was always a stack. Both of these operators left the same warning, by the way, and you need to hear it before you buy a single animal. The rabbit man's biggest mistake to avoid is breeding before the buyers exist. Rabbits multiply fast, faster than you think, and a freezer full of meat with no one to sell it to is just a feed bill that already happened. Lock in one restaurant, one farmer's market slot, or one standing buyer before the first litter ever arrives. The sales side has to be ready before the production side starts moving. The quailman's mistake is the mirror image, selling only eating eggs at commodity prices when hatching eggs from the very same birds bring 4 times the revenue for one changed word on the listing. Same trap, 2 animals. The production is the easy part. The buyer always comes first. So here is the honest verdict. No fence sitting. If you have truly zero land and you want the highest income from the smallest possible space, you start quail. If you need money in your hand inside a month to believe in any of this, you start rabbits. And if you are willing to run both, you do not pick at all, you stack them. And the waste loop drops your combined feed bill down to almost nothing, while two income streams run side by side. Now I want to hear from you, because your answer decides what I build next. Drop a comment and tell me two things. 1. How much space are you genuinely working with right now? A single shelf, a shed, a spare room, a corner of the garage, a backyard? And 2. Which one are you starting first, quail or rabbits, and why? I read every single comment, and the split in those answers decides which full build I break down next. If this finally settled the argument for you, do me one favor. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because the next video is the exact 60-day launch sequence for running quail and rabbits together, week by week, from empty cage to your first real paycheck. That one is building right now,